Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to News Talk. News Talk coming to you from ABS, from the great state of Texas, Houston, Texas, precisely. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in through the social media, Facebook, YouTube, and all of you joining from all of Africa by way of satellite television. Thank you for tuning in and good evening. Tonight, I take you back to Cameroon, where lots and lots is happening with the October 12th for presidential elections in that country, where both candidates are claiming victory. We talked about the proclamation of the elections last week and the coming swearing in of President Biya as president of that country, and what Issa Tchiroma, the popular candidate, the person proclaimed overwhelmingly believed to be the winner of that election, is doing. In fact, Cameroon is under a stalemate politically. As I come to you, the country is being grounded. That's what we're going to be discussing today. Of course, we will also be talking about the possibility of swearing in Issa Tchiroma before Paul Biya is sworn in sometime next week. That is what is under discussion at the moment by the political players on the opposition side at the moment. We will talk about this, and then I will have for you to weigh in with the phone calls, and we'll see where things go for tonight. So please stay put in there. I will be right back. Stay tuned, please.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you.
This is Bafoussam. Places are dry. This is Bafoussam. Places are dry. This is Bafoussam. Places are dry.
You are looking there at Bafoussam, ladies and gentlemen. That was Bafoussam this morning. That is what we are having emerging from Bafoussam. And the rest of the country will be following this again, officially beginning on Monday. That is a complete lockdown called for by Issa Tchiroma. So Cameroon is expected to be completely grounded beginning Monday, all the way to, I think, Wednesday, the 5th. Wednesday, November the 5th, Cameroon, all of Cameroon is expected to be grounded. Of course, when I say Cameroon, I mean Cameroon. That is excluding Amazonian territories. That has been called for by the Issa Tchiroma campaign, and the images you look at there emerging from Bafoussam this morning is exactly the state of affairs in that country today. Everywhere emptied, and this is going to affect every part of the country from Bafoussam, Bunda, Chang up to Douala, Ngaoundéré, Garoua, Maroua, and other parts of the country. Now, I think this is very important, and why I applaud what Tchiroma is trying to do by shutting down the country. I just do not understand how this effectively stops Biya from being sworn in as president of La République du Cameroun. We all are aware that John Frondi tried these lockdowns and ghost towns in the 90s. And also we are aware that Maurice Kamto tried this in 2018 with ghost towns and lockdowns. Of course, that has never ejected Biya from the throne. So I guess Tchiroma isn't just trying to do the same thing. I hope there is something different and much more powerful and potent behind this. Before I bring my guest to you tonight, I'd like you to just listen to an appeal that Issa Tchiroma put out today, appealing to Cameroonians to stay home, shut down the country. Let us listen to him, please. Let's listen to Issa Tchiroma.
Strong, dignified, and courageous, they said no to the confiscation of power. Across all regions, from the north to south, east to west, Cameroonians expressed themselves peacefully with the only weapon granted to them by the Constitution, their vote. Yet, this voice was met with the clash of weapons. Live bullet answered the song of freedom. Our parents, our children were cut down in the prime of their lives, and peaceful marches were turned into blind repression with profiling and brutality. Today, the provisional toll is heavy. Arbitrary arrest of political leaders, civil society actors, content creators, and thousands of demonstrators, hundreds of deaths and injuries. Families plunge into mourning, recalling the traumatic episodes of 1984. While the people weep for their martyrs, those responsible for this tragedy shamelessly feast, displaying on social networks their cynicism and contempt for the people. In a viral video, the President of the Constitutional Council himself, in the intoxication of champagne, boasted of having secured the victory of the incumbent president. What a shame for our republic. But those who believe that fear will make us bow are gravely mistaken, because a people who have lost fear are a people who are invincible. Cameroonian, this climate of terror orchestrated to make us retreat. We will not give in. I therefore call on you from Monday, November 3, Wednesday, November 5, to observe ghost towns. Let the entire country come to a standstill, so that the whole world knows that we are resisting and that we will not yield. Let us keep our shops closed, suspend our activities, remain at home in silence, to demonstrate our solidarity and to remind this regime that the strength of an economy is its people, and the people no longer recognize it as their leader. Cameroonian people, the time is no longer for fear or division. Let us remain standing, united, proud, and in solidarity against those who with Machiavellian cynicism, invoke peace while showing terror and continue to rule through misery and blood. Let us remain calm, yet determined. Let us remain dignified, yet unyielding. I repeat, our victory will never be stolen. I have taken a firm commitment never to betray you, and I will not fail. I will never betray you. I will never abandon you. This is
right, ladies and gentlemen. That was Tchiroma today, back in the Cameroon, swearing, I will never abandon you, I will never fail you, I will never walk away from you. That is his resolve, and he is matching that up with a 3 days ghost town in which he hopes that the economy of La République du Cameroon will be grounded. He considers the presidency of Paul Biya no longer legitimate because, according to him, it has failed the people. It has failed the people, and those people are agreed with him. For 42 years in power, Cameroon has never looked worse than it is at this moment, in spite of the fact that this same guy, Paul Biya, has been on the throne for 42 years. Now, Tchiroma is invoking the same ghost towns that John Frundi invoked in the 90s, that Maurice Kamto invoked in the 2018. They sound good. The idea sounds good. However, the question is, for how long can you fight the regime with ghost towns and with lockdowns? Because people get tired. They get fatigued. They want to get back to their business. When the bank accounts dry, they want to get back to their business. They want to get back to life. What do? You cannot sustain the campaign for legitimacy with ghost towns alone. And that is why the overwhelming majority of Cameroonians are now saying Tchiroma must be sworn in immediately before Paul Biya is sworn in sometime next week. In fact, we are learning that Biya may be sworn in on Monday the 3rd. I believe it's Monday is the 3rd. Yes, Monday the 3rd. However, no official announcement has gone out in that respect, but it is generally known that Monday Paul Biya may be sworn in, and if that be the case, Cameroonians are asking that Tchiroma be sworn in before Monday the 3rd. And that makes a lot of sense. I spoke about that lengthily yesterday, but let me still explain why I think that is very doable and the urgency involved. Since the elections and since the official proclamation of the results, no foreign country that matters has congratulated Paul Biya for winning the elections. None. Not even the French have officially congratulated him. Not the English, not the Americans, not the Canadians. Nobody has congratulated Paul Biya. In fact, we have now learned that the European Union delegation in Yaoundé, including the USA, Canadian, and the British, none of them marked presence at the proclamation of those results. None of these embassies, foreign dignitaries were there present at the proclamation of the result. The results have been proclaimed, and still there is no official congratulatory messages being sent to Paul Biya from these embassies. None. So this is the argument. If Tchiroma does not consider his swearing in as a matter of urgency and wait until these foreign embassies begin to send in their congratulatory messages to Paul Biya, he risks being seen as a destabilizer the moment that Biya is sworn in. Nobody will then take him seriously. That means he has to do it and do it now, so that the moment he does that, a pillar of cloud of uncertainty is hanging over the legitimacy of Mr. Biya. Because the reason why all these foreign embassies have not sent congratulatory messages to Paul Biya is because they doubt that he won the election. And if Tchiroma steps out and affirms himself, got sworn in as president of Cameroon, well, those foreign dignitaries, diplomats may still not send congratulatory messages to him, but it will only be a matter of time. They will do that. We saw that in Côte d'Ivoire with the case of Ouattara and Alassane Ouattara and Laurent Gbagbo. Sorry, I can't pronounce that name really good enough. But we saw it there. Why Laurent Gbagbo lost the elections and refused to leave. Alassane Ouattara was sworn in a hotel in the outskirts of Abidjan. He was not immediately congratulated or recognized, but eventually they did. The same thing with the Gambia in 2016, when the Gambians sworn in their own president who won the election against the will of Yaya Jammeh out there in Senegal, not even in the Banjul. The president was sworn in Senegal. So this is the picture, and this is the reason why it is hoped that Issa Tchiroma takes this swearing in very, very seriously. And I am glad, at least going by what I know, that they are seriously thinking about that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you my guest for tonight, who is somebody that you all know very well, especially in the African community. I am talking about Ambassador Thibault Nagy, retired, who has taken lots of interest in African affairs, especially when it comes to democracy in Africa. Ambassador, it's a great pleasure to have you back here, sir.
Thank you very, very much for having me, Chris. Always a delight.
Thank you. Thank you. You are kind of a student. I don't know what I should call you a student, but let me put it this way, an analyst of what happens in Africa, because you have done a lot of work for Africa, especially considering that under the last Trump administration, you served as Under Secretary of State for African Affairs. Now, what is happening in Cameroon, I don't think it is new to you. I think you probably anticipated this moment in Cameroon. Am I right?
Absolutely, Chris. And I could not have said any better than what you said concerning the ghost towns, what achievements it can lead to. Because I went through exactly the same thing when I was in Cameroon as deputy ambassador back in 1992, when there was a very
you were there during
election. I went and looked at some of the polls, including at a military base. And when I looked at the poll results that night, I said, it's all over. I said, Biya doesn't have a chance.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, he is declared the winner by some insignificant margin, which to me at least was a total false, farce. And then Cameroon went through the same thing, unfortunately, what we're talking about now. I mean, the Biya regime has done this, I think, now 8 times.
Yes.
Is a highly questionable election, followed by Biya being declared the winner. Then there's an uproar. The opposition candidate does various different things. The government will target arrests of opposition supporters or leaders. Then there's a ghost town or economic boycott, whatever you want to call it. Then the Biya administration sits tight, and they wait until it's all over, and then Biya is president, for another term, and then it starts all over again.
Right. So you were there during, when Frundi won the elections, and you saw Frundi declaring these ghost towns all over the national territory. Again, Issa Tchiroma is trying to do the same thing. I guess you are saying these things do not result to anything at the end of the day, because the regime is always ready for people to get fatigued and tired for them to move on.
Absolutely, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, what is the point of the ghost towns besides expressing your frustration? There will no doubt be damage. Of course, there will be violence. People will be arrested. People will die. But at the end of the campaign, what is the result? I predict the result will be that Mr. Biya will be there as president again for another 7-year term, which will take him through till he's, 99 years old?
Right. Right. Ambassador Thibault, at this moment, let me take it back a little bit. Are you swearing in? Normally, you would expect the diplomats in Yaoundé to be invited at the proclamation of those results, as we saw. But the European Union wasn't there. In fact, Brussels sent out a statement right after the declaration of the results, essentially condemning the conduct of that result and how, of the election and the results that eventually came out. If you were there, being there, considering your experience, what do you think is going on within the diplomatic corps in Cameroon right now?
Well, what would normally happen is the Western diplomats would talk to each other ahead of time and say, okay, are you going to the swearing in? Are you going to the swearing in? And then they would likely make a joint decision. As you mentioned, Chris, there have been no statements, official statements coming out. Now, the United States is kind of unique in this because several months ago, the Trump administration decided that the United States would no longer be making comments on particular elections. The truth is those statements don't amount to anything. They might make somebody feel good, but I suspect that the diplomatic community got together and decided what they would do.
And after listening to the proclamation of the results, they remained mute. Normally, they will start sending in congratulatory messages to Paul Biya. In fact, we learned that they are not coming in. Biya is now trying to put pressure on some of the missions to send in those messages. What do you think is happening, is going on within those Western capitals that matter, like London, Washington, D.C., Ottawa, Paris? What are they thinking?
Yeah, in that kind of a situation, especially with a messy election like that, there's going to be a lot of discussion in the capital to figure out whether the interests of maintaining positive relations with Cameroon, the government, outweigh stating the obvious, which is that it was a highly questionable election and it was a highly questionable decision, by the Constitutional Council. Of course, as I have said for months, this is exactly, what I expected, because this has happened now 8 times.
Right. So, talking about the Constitutional Council, I don't know whether you saw the footage out there where the chair of the Constitutional Council, the guy who proclaimed the results, right after the proclamation, went into a party. They were all in a celebratory mood, and he actually uttered the statement asking the members of Biya government to appreciate him for having the courage to pronounce the results in their favor. What do you make of that statement? That is somebody who's supposed to be a neutral arbiter, but he is the one asking for praises for declaring the elections in the ruling party's favor.
Did anyone seriously think that the Constitutional Council is a neutral body? I mean,
Of course
does
not.
that really surprise anybody?
Of course not. Now, uh, the general appeal at the moment to the Issa Tchiroma campaign is to get sworn in. Get sworn in before Bia gets sworn in sometime next week, maybe Monday, maybe later in the week. What is your view on contested elections and the opposition candidate being sworn in before the person allegedly official winner being sworn in?
Of course, Chris, as an international observer, I cannot, give advice on that. But of course, the
Your
big
opinion,
question.
your opinion.
Oh, my opinion is the question is who would do the swearing in?
How about any local judge doing that? Because we've seen that precedence again in the Gambia. We've seen that precedence in the Cote d'Ivoire. We've seen it in Madagascar, where a local judge swears in the candidate, and eventually the world begins to send congratulatory messages to him.
Yeah, to me, the big question would be the rank of the person doing the swearing in. Because if it's just a local judge, seriously, it would be very difficult for the international community to say, oh my gosh, that confers legitimacy on Issa Tchiroma. So that's a very difficult question, and that's obviously Issa Tchiroma has to answer that and decide what he wants to do, because I'm sure that, and I'm not a lawyer on the laws of Cameroon, but I'm sure that would be seen in a very, very negative way by the Bia government.
Of course, and I think that's the intention too, because then you raise a pillar of uncertainty upon the Bia's government, and considering his age, I doubt if anybody in the international community, within diplomatic circles, would want to say, let's just keep the old guy. Is that possible?
No, honest to goodness, Chris, again, you know that I deal with realities. It would be very, very difficult, especially for the diplomatic community in Yaoundé, to say, oh, Issa Tchiroma has been sworn in by a judge in Garoua, so we're going to immediately, embrace him as the president. So I honestly could not see that happening, because the local embassies would have to get permission from their capital cities, from their foreign ministers, from the Secretary of State.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. I don't think any embassy in the Yaoundé will take upon itself to start congratulating anybody unless dictated by Washington, London, Ottawa, Paris, Brussels. That's the scenario I'm looking at, because I really doubt whether any of these foreign countries looking at, considering number one, for how long Bia has been there, for how old he is, would want to endorse him, send him congratulatory messages, considering that guy may not even last for the next 6 months. And some people say he doesn't even know whether there was an election or not.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine, Chris, that with the election over, the people in the regime are already starting to think about the transition. And, who is going to step forward as number one when the transition takes place. Talking about swearing in, of course, again, a big question would be the loyalty of the security forces. Because, the last thing anybody would want is violence from the side of the security forces. And if the security forces come down with absolute loyalty and say, we recognize the fact that President Bia has been reelected, then, of course, that introduces a huge element into the equation.
And there is one angle that everybody knows is actually lacking as far as military loyalty to Paul Biya is concerned. We know there is a crack, a division within the army, and even some army officials have already been arrested and locked up for expressing views that support Tchiroma. I mean, right after the proclamation of the elections. So you find a situation, the army is split. We know for sure up north between Ngaoundere to Maroua, the army will be loyal to Tchiroma. That is for sure. Maybe they may choose not to do anything, but to think that the army there will lift up their arms against the people and against Tchiroma is just impossible.
Yeah.
So if Biya realizes that the army is no longer fully loyal to him, maybe except the Bulu, the Ewondo, Betty ranking officers. What does the West think about that when the army is divided?
Well, when the army is divided, that's when you tend to have some really horrible things happen, as we have seen in other countries. So the last thing the West would like to see is to see the army divided. That's why the one thing I think everybody will be unified on is calling for no violence, for ideally, when there's this kind of a situation, there should be negotiations between the parties. Of course, you can only have one winner, so the situation is extremely, extremely difficult, especially from the point of view of outsiders, because at the end of the day, this is something that has to be settled by Cameroon.
Well, when you talk about Cameroon is Biya's. He owns every institution there. He manages everything, and which is why you see Cameroonians get very frustrated, taking to the street, destroying property. And when you have a situation where there is absolutely no avenue for redress, because you go to the courts, he appoints the judges. There is no institution you can go to in Cameroon for redress. So why don't you see a situation where the West comes in and say, all right, Tchiroma declares himself president and is sworn in by a local judge, and Biya is sworn in Yaoundé and now, but the people are on the side of Tchiroma. Let's do some negotiation. Let's get them to dialogue. Don't you see that scenario?
Yeah, here's the thing. The way you characterized it is the reverse of what it should be. At the end of the day, every country belongs to its people. And then when you have situations where you have a government that's been in place forever, and it starts to think that the government owns the country, and that the people are there to serve the government, which is totally the reverse of what a normal situation should be like. As we have seen in the Sahel, where you had coups against governments, and that the people came out on the streets actually supporting the coups because the people felt like they had absolutely no way to express their own opinions. When government after government ran fraudulent elections, they changed the constitution. So, I have been a supporter of at least the United States looking at some of these coups differently, because our policy has been that whenever there's been a coup in Africa, well, a coup anywhere, then the United States government immediately cuts off that military government, stops cooperating, and on and on and on. The point I have been making is that the real question is not so much elections, the question is legitimacy. Mm-hmm. Is the government in place seen as legitimate in the eyes of the people? If the people consider a government legitimate, then we should be dealing with that government.
So, in other words, you would be advocating for a support of the people where the people consider the government not to be legitimate.
Yes, I would. Now, I do not speak for the United States government,
Of
remember
course,
that.
yeah.
But I have I spent 22 years in Africa. I've been involved with Africa since 1978. And in my own mind, I have really come to a different point of view because I have seen Africa, go to now a continent of mostly young people. Unfortunately, the dinosaurs are still in the presidential palaces in a number of countries, and the young people's frustration is just beyond the breaking point. So Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, places like that, where you almost have a popular military come in. Unfortunately, you see them wasting that popularity. But the people initially were in favor of those governments because they had no other way to express their willingness.
So this is the question in a situation where the foreign governments, of course, we're talking of the U.S., the U.K., France, Canada, and stuff. In a situation where they say, well, where the people have no recourse, and the U.S., the U.K., Canada, Paris, Brussels. In the situation, they don't want to stop. They cannot. They don't want to say something. They don't want to intervene. What is it expected? Chaos, as we see in Cameroon now?
Yeah, if you remember, Chris, even in 1992, messy election, the ghost towns went on, if I remember, for months.
Yeah.
Douala was basically out of control of the government. But every single government, even the United States, which was very unhappy with Biya, continued to deal with the Biya government because Biya was in the presidential palace and the government was functioning. It would be extremely unusual, and I have to underline that if Issa Tchiroma takes the pledge of the presidential office for governments to say, oh, we're going to start dealing with Issa Tchiroma as the president. I'm just telling you how it is realistically. Not not my preference, but that's just how it operates.
But they did so in Madagascar. I remember in Madagascar, Rajolina Andry escaped to the neighborhoods, and he was sworn in. The incumbent president left power eventually, but before that happened, immediately that happened, the U.S. pulled out military support, the UK and all those countries. But given time, months after, Rajolina Andry was recognized as legitimate president of Madagascar. So the point I'm trying to make is, doesn't time play into these things where eventually the West say, what choice do we have? Let us acknowledge this guy.
Time is the critical element, as you say. It depends on what happens over time. As you saw in Madagascar, the president in place actually fled the country because there was such an uproar against him. We're now talking about Generation Z, flexing its power around the world. We saw it, I think, in Bangladesh. We saw it in Madagascar. We're seeing it in some other places. And it's a real force to be reckoned with. And again, it's presidents and heads of state who are totally out of touch with their people. And the young people have come to a point where is in that famous American movie Network, where the people go out on the street and they say, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore.
Right. Another example that you will look at is Burkina Faso, where the military took over, and the people embrace it. The people are happier, and but you still find a situation where the French and countries in the West do not want to recognize Ibrahim Traoré. despite all that he is doing for people, for his people, rebuilding the country in a way that no administration in that country has. And yet, years after, some Western countries still do not want to recognize him. What do they want? Dictatorships in Africa?
Yeah, Chris, you asked that million-dollar question, and again, I say I'm not speaking for the U.S. government. That's why my focus is on legitimacy, because elections don't necessarily equal legitimacy, as we all know from example after example after example. So what can the people do? The people can either go out on the streets in their massive millions and the politicians flee, or as happened in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, the army basically says enough is enough, goodbye.
Well, we hope that that happens in Cameroon, and for once the people have a leader who can listen to them. Any advice you would give to Tchiroma, the people of Cameroon, in this picture, Ambassador, before I let you go?
The only thing I can say, Chris, again, it's not for outsiders to give advice, but I do have to say that I was impressed with the speeches that Tchiroma made in English.
Okay.
I doubt if President Biya can say 100 words in English after having been in power forever and ever. But Tchiroma's speech, especially the most recent one he gave, was extremely impressive. And I was sitting there saying, wow, finally somebody who can speak both of the languages.
The only problem is Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians. We still see him as a Cameroonian, not the president of Ambazonia. That is a problem.
Yeah, well, but Chris, there are English speakers throughout all of Cameroon, not just in Ambazonia, and that's why I said that Cameroon has 2 official languages, and it's wonderful to hear a high level leaders using both of those languages.
No, you are right. And talking about Biya, no, listen, Biya speaks English. In fact, I have listened to him, made whole speeches in English. I don't know when that was, but that was a long time ago. It is not that Biya cannot speak English. He just doesn't want to, for the fact that nobody should think that Cameroon is French and English. They always want to portray Cameroon as a francophone country. That is why you will not hear a smidgen of English coming out of Biya in situations like this.
And Chris, I'll leave you because I know you have your program. But in Canada, it would be unheard of for any Canadian leader to not give half of every single speech in English and French, even though the francophones in Canada represent a small minority, like the anglophones, do in Cameroon. So anyway, there are much better ways of doing this. But you're absolutely right. And then we've talked so many times about how English speakers have been suppressed and made into second and third class citizens.
Well, Ambassador, thank you very much for coming in to talk to Cameroonians and to be part of this show. Very much appreciated, sir.
Thank you very much, Chris. And, we all have to pray for peace, stability, and for the right thing to happen in Cameroon.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day out there.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will be right back. Stay tuned, please.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ambassador Tchiroma joining me from Washington, D.C. This is going to be a short show today, and what I'm going to do is go back and talk about the urgency for Issa Tchiroma to be sworn in. And then right after that, I will open the phone lines, take your calls, and we go from there. So let me get back to Issa Tchiroma taking the oath of office. Why this is very critical as far as Cameroon is concerned is because, as you have heard from Ambassador Tchiroma, Cameroonians don't have an option. Cameroonians do not have any option. The courts belong to Paul Biya, and so Tchiroma cannot take the campaign or election fraud to any court in Cameroon. Cameroonians cannot have no recourse in any legal system in that country. So what do the people do? What can Tchiroma do? There is nothing he can do except be sworn in to sit there and tell Cameroonians, I am now your leader. I am now your president. That is the only option he has. Talking about these ghost towns and lockdowns, yeah, they may be good. They may be good, but the question is, for how long can they last? How long can the ghost towns and the lockdown last? And you know that the regime in Yaoundé loves it when they hear you talking about ghost towns. The other place where ghost towns and lockdowns have worked is in Amazonia, because we are just trying to prove a point. We do not think that we can use lockdowns and ghost towns to win a war of liberation. Of course not. And the people know that. Everybody knows that. But you cannot use lockdowns and ghost towns to win legitimacy, to take over the presidency. And I want to believe those who advise Issa Tchiroma know this. If they do not know this, then there should be lots and lots of excitement in the Biya's camp, because they know that it is only a matter of time, maybe 1 week, maybe 2 weeks maximum. The people get tired, they get bored, they get fatigued, and money runs dry, food runs dry, and they want to go back to normal life. That is the moment the Paul Biya regime is expecting out of any ghost towns or lockdowns called for by the opposition or called for by Issa Tchiroma. They know that the people will get tired, and they know the playbook of ghost towns and lockdowns. They are waiting for it. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, it remains the ultimate decision that Issa Tchiroma and his team have to make. Swear in Issa Tchiroma before Mr. Paul Biya is sworn in. That is what is going to give the struggle for Cameroonians freedom, justice, longevity. It is when Issa Tchiroma is sworn in that it will give pure legitimacy to the victory that the people believe he won. But without that, nothing is going to happen. Bia will stay in place. Imagine that Issa Tchiroma is sworn in, and instead of the West sending congratulatory messages to Paul Bia, they say, well, there is a problem there. There is infighting there. There is disagreement over the elections. Mr. Bia is too old. He has been in power for too long. You know what they will begin to say? They will begin to say, let us go get these two people to sit down and dialogue together. And you think they're going to be on the side of Bia on the table of that dialogue to continue in power? Absolutely not. Instead, they will be saying, the international community would be saying, Mr. President, Mr. Bia, you've already been here for 43 years. You are now too old, 93 years also, to be president of a country. Please, we can assure you that your security, your savings, your assets, they will all be maintained if you will agree to quietly, gently leave power. That is what they will be telling him. That is the message that the international community will be telling him. And at the end of the day, the result will be that Issa Tchiroma, you take over, you maintain peace, don't avenge, no vengeance, just let these people go and let peace return to the country. That will be the outcome in a situation where Issa Tchiroma is sworn in. Nobody will negotiate to say, Mr. Bia, just finish your next term, just finish these 7 years, and then hand over to Tchiroma. Of course, that is not going to happen. So the logical thing, the sensible thing, the smart thing for Issa Tchiroma to do is get sworn in and claim he is the legitimate leader of Cameroon. And this is very important because at this moment, Issa Tchiroma has what Frundi did not have. Issa Tchiroma has the population on his side. He has the population on his side. There is a map here that I like to show you guys. Put on that map, please. Okay, look at that map, ladies and gentlemen. On that map, you see the green from the north to the south. Look at that map. That map there, the green zone from the north to the south, to the southeast, from the north down to the southeast. Those are supposed to be the territories that listen to Issa Tchiroma, almost the entire country. And then on your left, where you have the yellow background called Amber Land, those are the territories controlled by Ambazonia. And then the little chunk of RDPC, the CPDM that you find there, a little light blue, that will be the only place where Paul Bia has some influence, and that is Cameroon, and that is Yaoundé, I mean to say. That is Yaoundé. So ladies and gentlemen, looking at that map, Tchiroma has the overwhelming support of the people. That is one factor. I don't think even Frundi had that kind of support. Of course, not to talk of Canto Morris, never had this kind of support. Canto had support in the west, in the littoral. He didn't have support in Ambazonia because Ambazonia long walked away from that so-called union. He did not have support from the north because of the factor of Buba Bello and Issa Tchiroma, who were then aligned with the CPDM. But Issa Tchiroma has support from the north to the southeast. From the north to the southeast. He can dictate or say anything, and people in these areas will listen to him, And they say that when there is life in Yaoundé, everything is fine everywhere. That will not be true in this case, because when you declare ghost towns or lockdowns and there is transportation shut down between Bafoussam, Douala, Yaoundé, then Yaoundé, Ngaoundé, Garoua, Maroua, you have paralyzed. You have paralyzed the economy. That is the power that is behind Issa Tchiroma, in which I hope they know and they see it. The third factor is that of the military. The military in Cameroon is split. The military is divided between Paul Biya and Issa Tchiroma. The only military in Cameroon that Paul Biya can vouch upon is the Beti Iwondo Bulu army that he controls, because they come essentially from the same geographical area. But in the rest of the country, Anglophone, as they call it, Anglophone soldiers would not want to fight and die for Paul Biya. For what reason? Of course, talk less of the Hausa army from the north, who are dotted all over the country. They are not ready to fight and die for Paul Biya. They would prefer to go defend Ngaoundé, Garoua, and Maroua and protect Issa Tchiroma than to fight for Paul Biya, who has been there for 42 years. So, Issa Tchiroma has every logical argument on his side to go out tomorrow and get sworn in as president of his Cameroon, and then you will see things falling into order. You will see things falling into place, because when you sit in Garoua and pass an order, that order is respected down all the way to the southeast of Cameroon. That order will be respected by the people from Maroua, down all the way to the southeast of Cameroon. As you can see in this map, the orders will be respected. In other words, if Issa Tchiroma decides to shut down transportation, can you imagine the whole of the green area is handicapped? Vehicles do not move, nothing moves, goods do not move, people do not move. The country is paralyzed. The country is paralyzed. That is what Issa Tchiroma can take advantage of. And again, that is what Fundi did not have. Kamto did not have. He must take advantage of this geographical divide. The small chunk in the middle there is the only thing that Paul Biya can control. Paul Biya may have some, not even all, some influence over. Paul Biya doesn't have control over Yaoundé. Yeah, Paul Biya doesn't have control over Yaoundé. Yaoundé is a metropolitan place where everybody from everywhere gathers. The only thing he has control in Yaoundé is the army, the military in Yaoundé. But that military cannot go to Ngaoundé, cannot go to Maroua, cannot go to Garoua, cannot go to the east. They cannot. If he sends Hausas to go up to the north, they go and compromise and fraternize with Issa Tchiroma. They cannot work in Bafoussam. They cannot work in Douala. Douala is a key asset to Issa Tchiroma. And he must consider the swearing in as soon as possible to take advantage of this divide. The divide within the population, because the fact is that once Issa Tchiroma steps out, gets sworn in, he appoints a cabinet. Now that cabinet doesn't need to sit in any physical office. They need to begin to put out decisions virtually. People will respect it because that is what the people recognize as a legitimate leadership. That is what the people recognize or will recognize as legitimate leadership. The people advising Issa Tchiroma must know this. The people are on their side. The population is on their side. Get sworn in. Announce your cabinet. Once your cabinet is announced, I'm telling you, Biya will still be in Yaoundé, of course, but they know the level of uncertainty that hangs over their head. Because in Yaoundé, they will be wondering, what will be the response of America? What will be the response of Britain? What will be the response of Paris? What will be the response of Canada, of the European Union? What if Paris is talking to Tchiroma, negotiating with Tchiroma? They have a cloud of uncertainty hanging over their heads. And I'm telling you, in Yaoundé, they will be wondering, they will be planning not how to remain in power, but they will be planning an exit strategy. That is what will linger in their minds. They will be saying, what if Issa Tchiroma comes tomorrow? What if these international bodies begin to recognize Issa Tchiroma? What are we going to do? They will sit in Yaoundé once Issa Tchiroma does that, thinking of how they exit, not how they maintain power. That will not be there. So I really hope that the people advising Issa Tchiroma take this really, really seriously. A time will come when it will be too late for Issa Tchiroma to think that he can now be sworn in. If you get sworn in after Paul Biya has been sworn in, you will be recognized by the international community as a destabilizer and not a legitimate president. Because I can assure you, the moment that Paul Biya gets sworn in, give them a maximum of 2 days. 2 days. Leaders in the international community, even the so-called United Nations that is writing for investigations, the AU that is writing for investigation, they will begin to send letters of congratulations after Biya is sworn in. Maximum 2 days after Biya is sworn in, those letters will begin to flow in. But Tchiroma can stop that, can puncture that by rushing ahead, being sworn in as legitimate president of Cameroon. If he does that, not that any of those congratulatory messages will go to him, not at all. But will it go to Biya? Also not at all. That establishes the fraudulent nature of that election and the legitimacy of Issa Tchiroma's claim that he won the elections. That is what the people advising Issa Tchiroma must be thinking about at the moment. And the time is not there. The time is not there. It has to be done today or tomorrow or Sunday before Paul Biya is sworn in. And somebody asks me, who will swear him in? A judge is all that matters. It doesn't have to be the Supreme Court judge. It can be anyone who is a judge, a recognized judge, who asks Issa Tchiroma to place his hands on top of the Quran and take the oath of office. That is all that is necessary. That is all that is necessary. And once he does that, the Cameroonian people recognize that this is our legitimate leader. They all fall behind him, and Mr. Biya has nobody to instruct or to control in that country. The highest thing they will get to do is send their military dogs, the police, the gendarmes, onto the streets to intimidate people, arrest people, and lock them up. But their days would have been counted. Their days would have been counted. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. I can't emphasize this enough. If Issa Tchiroma waits for Biya to be sworn in before he thinks of being sworn in himself, the time would have been over, the grace would have been over, and Cameroonians would have to wait for another 7 years. Another 7 years, within which I believe Frank Biya or Ferdinand Ngongo would have taken over from the old man Paul Biya, because you and I, we know Mr. Biya is not going to be there for another 1 year. It is not possible. It is just not possible. He will not be there for another 1 year. So, But if Issa Tchiroma wants to let this moment to go by, he will never have it again. He will never have it again. The reason Issa Tchiroma is pulling the crowds, he is pulling now, the support he is pulling now, is because they took out candidates like Maurice Kamto. They took out, that was the popular choice then until he was taken out. Maurice Kamto was a popular choice. And the moment Issa Tchiroma resigned, went back to his party and began to criticize the regime. He began to speak the language of the masses. They realized this is the only person we can fall behind, and they fell behind him. And so if he cannot take advantage of this popular support at this time, in 7 years he should not think of standing in for president or having the same amount of support that he has now. That will not happen. He will not have the same level of support if he says he wants to wait for 7 years. So, why I appreciate the ghost towns and the lockdowns that Issa Tchiroma has called for, I really want those behind him to learn from the past, that in the past, John Frundi declared ghost towns. They sent out the Takumbans. And Maurice Kamto declared ghost towns. Went to Europe, a lot of support in the diaspora and at home. But those ghost towns and lockdowns were not able to redeem their victories. And in the country where there is no recourse for law, no place to go to ask for a change of the situation, the only thing left is for people, their people, and their leadership. And I mean, Issa Tchiroma's leadership in this case. It is left for them to take it by any means, and by any means being getting sworn in as president. Already, Issa Tchiroma has said he is a legitimate winner of that election. Yeah, right? He made the statement ever before the official results were read. Looking at his own tabulation, Issa Tchiroma stepped out and told Cameroonians that he won the elections. Look at the results, the tabulation. 54.8% for Issa Tchiroma, according to unadulterated results, and then 31% for Paul Biya. And by the way, do you realize that what has happened here is that Paul Biya merely reversed. He made a 360 turnaround of these results. Instead of showing Tchiroma with 54.8%, Paul Biya shows himself with 53.66%. And instead of showing him Paul Biya with 31%, he shows Tchiroma with 35%. They merely made a reversal of these results. So this is the point I am making out there to you Cameroonians who are fighting for your destiny. Tchiroma has already declared that he is the winner of that election, that he is the legitimate president. What then is stopping him from getting sworn into the office? Was it just rhetoric that he was putting out there? Or he didn't mean it? He didn't mean it, I guess. If he meant it, and he knows the people gave him the victory, the moment is now to concretize, to solidify that declaration that he won the election by getting sworn in. Give Biya no chance. Again, the moment diplomatic congratulations begin to come into Yaoundé, I'm telling you, and we have learned that Biya is actually putting pressure. His operations is putting pressure on the diplomatic missions in Yaoundé to begin to send in congratulatory messages. That is what is going on. That is why Isaac Tchiroma cannot delay being sworn in. Because when important countries like France, Canada, the UK, the US, the European Union, when congratulatory messages begin to leave them and get out to Yaoundé, again, Isaac Tchiroma at that moment cannot say, I am a legitimate president. I was elected. Nobody will care. Nobody will care. The moment is now. You cannot rely on ghost towns alone. People will get tired after those ghost towns are over. They will get tired after 1 week. In fact, you will no longer see anyone on the street protesting anything. In fact, Isaac Tchiroma may remain a figurehead at that moment because they would see him like somebody who cannot fight. They would see him as somebody who cannot fight. Right now, the consensus is go out there and be sworn in as the leader, as the president. Then you would have given the people momentum, the reason to continue to fight, to continue to show out on the streets, to defend their ballots in their votes of October 12th. Nothing different from that. But I got a message for Ambazonians. Ambazonians, listen, this ghost town that is being called out there has nothing, absolutely nothing, zero to do with Ambazonia or Southern Cameroonians. We can't emphasize this enough. There is never a day that we are going to fight battles in La République du Cameroon. It is a moment we let them fight their own battles. And do not be mistaken. We wholeheartedly support Isaac Tchiroma. If I were to vote, if I were a Cameroonian and want to vote, I would definitely vote for Isaac Tchiroma. But listen, he is a leader of Cameroon, not the leader of Ambazonia. What we are saying to Francophones is that we fought this for 9 solid years, almost 1 decade. 1 decade. And Francophones did not for once call for a day of ghost town to protest the killing of our people. Francophones did not for once call for a lockdown of their territory to protest the pogroms in our territory. Now they go out for their elections are rigged and defrauded, and they want Ambazonia to go out declaring ghost towns in their territories. I don't know for what reason. When we consider ourselves a separate territory, a different people from them. And so Ambazonians, these ghost towns, as much as it is good for the people of French Cameroon, it has nothing to do with Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians. And so on Monday, Ambazonia observes regular lockdown or ghost town. And the rest of the week, go about your business as usual. Go about your businesses in Ambazonia as usual. After Monday, go about your regular business in Ambazonia as usual. We believe that when it is all said and done in La République du Cameroon and Isaac Tchiroma becomes their president, we will have the opportunity to sit down and address the issues that have gone under the table for these 9 years. At that moment, we are willing to sit down with him, reason with him, talk to him, and see the way he handles this. That is the only time we are going to talk about Cameroon. For now, we are Ambazonians. We are Southern Cameroonians. We don't always have to fight for the survival of Cameroon. No, it doesn't have always to be the blood of our children, the decimation of our towns. Can you imagine how many people have been killed in La République du Cameroon from Maroua all the way to Ebolowa in the east? How many people have been killed there throughout all this time of protests? Not up to 10 people, I guess. Not up to 10 people. Just think about it. Think about it. If this was happening in Ambazonia, if this was happening, taking place in the southern Cameroons, can you imagine how many businesses would have been burnt down? Can you imagine how many people would have been killed or maybe burnt alive? We haven't seen it yet in La République du Cameroon. Please, please, what goes on in La République du Cameroon now has nothing to do with our quest for a free and independent country called Ambazonia. Let's stay away. Let's monitor. I appreciate your moral support for Issa Tchiroma. That is fine. That is okay. But as far as engaging in their politics is concerned, it is a foreign country and we have nothing, zero, nothing to do with it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have made the point. Issa Tchiroma, go out and be sworn in before Paul Biya is sworn in. Go out and be sworn in before Paul Biya is sworn in. You have the backing of the military. You have the backing of the people of Cameroon. Nothing else you need. You need nothing else. That is all that you need. I hope the point is made, and I hope that they listen to the sound of my voice here. Now I will open the phone lines. Take your calls, and I will call it a night. Now remember that before you call, make sure the volume of your telephone is shut down. Before you call, make sure the volume of your telephone is shut down before you call so that you can focus on your phone. If I pick my phone, if I pick your call and hear noise or hear my voice in the background, then I will just reject it because many others are calling. I get straight to those who are ready to call. So the phone number is right there on your screen. Go ahead and call. I see the calls coming in already. Let's get to this guy calling, I guess, from ground zero. Hello. Okay, that is a bad connection there. Go ahead and call. All right, the phone line is open. The phone line is open. All right. Hello.
Hello, Chris. John calling from the UK.
All right, thank you for calling, sir. What is on your mind?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your devotion to the Ambazonian struggle and your flexibility in terms of not limiting yourself to Ambazonia, looking at what is happening in French Cameroon. So my first contribution would be legitimacy. We are mixing it up between the legitimacy and legality. The fact that they are being sworn in is legal in the Cameroon constitution.
Right.
If he's sworn in before Tchiroma does not make him legitimate. Legitimate must be fair. Is the law itself fair? I'd have the people.
Hold on there. I hear you, but we are speaking of a situation where there is nothing like fairness. Who institute fairness there? It's the same regime, right?
Yes.
That's the problem.
I was just part of the introduction. So what I was saying is that the people, if they allow Biya and his regime and his group of guys to take over power, it depends on them. Because the problem is, even if Biya is sworn in before Tchiroma, the people can still fight and bring them out. So the first thing would be making sure nobody part of the CPDM do not exist in the part that Tchiroma has upper hand in the north. So anybody CPDM should be kicked out of that area. That is the starting point. And secondly, it is Tchiroma now to come out to the Ambazonia, reach out to the Ambazonia. When he's fighting in the north, we are fighting in our area. So the Biya government will have no hiding place. So it's just for them to leave their country and look for a refuge. That is my suggestion. It's not about worrying about swearing in. It's mounting the pressure, make sure CPDM does not have any hiding place in the country, and the people
Well, there's a problem there, making sure CPDM doesn't have any place in the country. To what end? To what end?
To what end is because the truth is, when they start, it's not, we did not start by, how do they call, the Ambazonian struggle did not start with violence. It took a tool. So it evolves. So Tchiroma should come to a long-term plan where they know that violence is an option. It is not by negotiating, because you cannot. In Niger and all the other countries, they did not negotiate with the West. The West would conform to what they have always been doing. When they know, they look at the war, they see who is winning, and then wage in. So this is what the West have been doing. So it's Tchiroma, because what we are doing is, once we keep repeating that this has happened and the one, this has happened and the one, they will keep on doing the same thing, but they know they are not reacting because they know the voice of the people is louder than the voice of a few CPDM hooligans.
Well, thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate that. My point is that Tchiroma should take advantage of the support he has from the people now, and that of the army get sworn in. All right. Let's see who is next here. Let's see who is next here. The phones are jammed, I guess. Hello. Hello. I think the phones are jammed. Let's see. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Okay, what is your contribution? All right, I can get that guy. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Where are you calling?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, am I right? This is the Tchiroma friend.
Yes, sir. Good to hear from you, sir. San Antonio, what is on your mind?
Yes, for a moment yesterday, I had some pride in me about this military or the soldiers that originate from the northern side of La Republique. When I heard somebody say, I don't know whether that person was you or another person made the point on your program, that they said they were not Anglophones that would fire on their own brothers and sisters in the streets who are protesting. They said they were going to take care of their brothers, they were going to take care of their sisters, and will not fire on them. But for us, our brothers who are in uniform in La Republique lead the way, show our head out, rape our children, and do all sorts of things. And this is a real shame. Let them see what is happening. Okay, now there's been all this fighting, like you pointed out. How many people have been killed in La Republique? How many people? Very few.
Yeah.
But when Ambazonia, our brothers and sisters over there who are in uniform would have led the way and slaughtered many of our people. The other thing I would like to say is, if it is possible, let our fighters take particular note of the roads that lead to La Republique so that they cut off any food supply, any supply of any commodity to La Republique. Again, your program is very highly cherished, and thank you for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, let's see. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Again, I ask you not to turn on the volume of your background when you call. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Where are you calling from? Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Yaoundé.
Okay, what
Good
is your...
afternoon, or good evening, Miss.
Good evening, sir. What is on your mind? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Yes. No, I'm together. I'm happy with what you have been doing so far, projecting what is supposed to be done. For the moment, I think I'm in the same opinion with you people. I'm in the same opinion with you people that President Tchiroma have to do all possible means to swear in before Paul Biya does that before him for the moment.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for the call.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. All right. Hello.
Good evening.
Good
Yes,
evening.
good evening.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
Gateway to Kumbu from Wainama.
From Wainama, the home of the Unity
Yeah.
Warriors. Okay, what is on your mind, sir?
Thank you very much. My advice is that if you people are talking directly to Tchiroma, you let him know that he have to swear in before and our elderly father, you call him Paul Biya. And secondly, I will advise that I heard from John Akuru that we should not stop fighting. We should be seriously on the field fighting to tell the world that we are still there. So when wind don't pass before the deceive foul is sure. Thank you and good night.
All right, thank you, sir. You guys remain safe out there. All right. All right. Let me... Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good evening, sir. I'm calling from Yaoundé.
Okay. What is going on in Yaoundé, sir?
So I wanted to give my own proposal about the situation going on in La Republique as you were set in the program.
Okay. What is on your mind?
Yes, what is in my mind that, with all the activation going on in the La Republique now, let Tchiroma Bakare, he gave a ghost town for 3 days. That on Monday, he's going to go out for revenge because his brother was abdicated, so his brother was kidnapped by the La Republique. So he said on Monday he's going to go out. We are just waiting for their own dues. We are just waiting for their own proposal. But as for us, we should not, all the Anglophones, all the La Republique, all those from the northwest and southwest, from the Amazonian, we should keep our hand closed and wait for them because we have been fighting for 9 months.
For
Let
9
them
years,
fight
yes.
for their own dues. We don't want to be among them. They should trust their own way of fighting because I've been fighting for 9 years. That's
Yeah.
my opinion, sir.
All right. Okay. Thank you, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you calling
Hello.
from, please?
I'm calling from Douala.
And what is in your mind, sir?
Yes, the first thing is I want to appreciate what you just said there. That is exact thing that Tchiroma should do now, and he should start thinking about it this night till Monday. He should do that, so that when he does that, the confusion will come in, and there is nobody. Then second thing, he has the population. It's not enough thing.
Yeah.
There is something that he has to do urgently. He has to come out and plan and strategize people are everywhere in Cameroon. You should start calling them, because what the people started on the ground was good, and it was bringing heat to the government. Now, the people now need a leader to encourage them, because everybody is just watching and waiting to hear from him, because a leader must be in the ring to give people the information. But that is not happening now. And when people began having discouraging spirit, they will turn away. That is one thing that will face him.
Yeah.
So he has to now start forming everything and putting people in place everywhere. And then the next thing is this: he should not put lockdown. The day that they are swearing him in, the population should be on the road to jubilate. People will jubilate for that, and that will create another atmosphere into the Cameroon government. Then the day that they want to swear that their own grandfather in, they should now put a lockdown so that the people should not have access to do that. So he has to start working now. And if there is a way to send the message to him, just send it to him. Because people, the appetite has started coming down. On Monday, the people were there, and the people are still waiting to hear from his plan.
All right.
And then it should also, the last thing is this: when you start showing the Western world that you are not with them, they will not want to work with you. He should appreciate them and tell them that he is open to all the world, even although behind him that will not be the case. But now he wants to show them that he is ready to welcome everybody in Cameroon. And that will create an atmosphere within the world.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the call. You have a great night. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can you turn down the volume of your television, ma'am?
Hello.
Can you turn down the volume of your TV, please, before you talk on the phone?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you. Okay, I lost that caller. Hello. 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 Again, before you call here, you must turn down the volume of your television set, which is in the background. You must turn it down, as I pick your call and I hear an echo in the background, I will drop it. Hello. Hello.
Again, before you call here, you must.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
Hello. I'm calling from Kumba.
Okay. All right. What is on your mind, sir?
No, I just want to tell you that what you are saying, tell it to Tchiroma this night, so that by tomorrow, before Sunday, they have swear him in.
Okay.
That you tell Tchiroma, send that message to Tchiroma, so that by tomorrow or by Sunday, they have already sworn him in.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Hello. Okay. Lost that caller. All right. All right. I think we're going to end it here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this caller here. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you calling from? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm calling from Texas.
All right. I know this family of
Chris,
us.
do you have Issa Chiroma's number? I mean, a direct way of reaching out to him, because I think that's the solution. If you can talk to him, he's your friend. Reach out to him and talk to him directly, man. That way, we can he can get this information directly. You know, that's really all I want to say.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ground Zero, sir.
Where on ground zero?
Hello.
Where on ground zero?
Hello.
Yes, I hear you. Where are you calling from on ground zero?
I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Where on ground zero?
Precisely in Kumba.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. All right. What is on your mind?
Okay, sir. Prince, well, I just want to say thank you for the marvelous job that you people have been doing there. So, I have a question that I want to ask.
Okay.
Now, we are saying that Our Excellency Tchiroma should be sworn in. Who is to swear him in? Who is to swear him? Who is that judge that will swear him? Because now, to me, I'm thinking that there will be a fear of that person who will swear him. They say that when that person swear him in, they will search the government, the La Republic government will search for that judge, and the judge will be in the problem, in a problem. So, how do you look at it, sir?
No, I don't think it's a big problem. Every city, every town, they have judges, and I believe, especially in the north, between Ngandre and Marawa, there should be one courageous judge that Issa Tchiroma or his close colleagues know, who can be courageous enough to perform that act, just as Tanganan Clement was courageous enough to declare the results in favor of Paul Biya. There is somebody out there, a judge out there, who will be ready to do that. That I'm very sure.
Okay, sir. Because my fear was that person will be afraid that the Cameroon government would search for.
I hear you, but you will always have people like that, but not everybody is like that. Thank you for the call. All right. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Japan.
From Japan. What is on your mind, sir?
Say again.
What is on your mind?
My question is, I want to ask if we are joining with the strike action that has been called about the ghost towns that have been called by Issa Tchiroma.
When you say we, who are you referring to?
Amber, sweetie, Amber, Ground Zero.
You know, we have made it very clear. I said it just a few minutes ago that this has nothing to do with Ambazonia. Ambazonians have their ghost town on Mondays. They will observe that as usual. And then the rest of the week, they go about their business as if nothing is happening.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Hello, where are you calling from?
Hello. I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Where on Ground Zero?
In Mondemba.
Where?
In Mondemba.
Mundemba, okay.
Mondemba.
All right. What is on your mind, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, let the swearing be as soon as possible. Let the swearing be as soon as possible, because delay may be dangerous.
All right.
Delay may be dangerous. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
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 I can barely hear you. Can you raise your voice?
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ground Zero, sir.
What is on your mind, sir?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just to thank you a little bit for your great work. We are strongly behind you. And the other thing that I would like to add, sir, is it's like a reminder that if you can have a connection, that you can reach Tchiroma. That's what the last caller asked about who will be swearing in. If you can have a connection, that you can connect Tchiroma to change the game and start proposing about the swearing in, because the ghost towns, we have welcomed it and we are very happy for that. But what will happen about after the ghost towns? Because the swearing in right now is the most important. If Tchiroma swears in, then he will be the next president. But if Paul Biya swears in, then the all will recognize him as the president of Cameroon.
Right.
So I just want to remind, if you can have a contact or a direct indirect way, you can contact to reach to Tchiroma to remind him of that. That is the most important thing now. It's not even the ghost towns. We are waiting for the swearing in.
All
and
right.
Starting reminding that it will be in the next 9 days. So please, we are strongly behind. As I say, we should support Tchiroma in our moral way. We are in the right now. I'm talking to you. I'm in Southwest Tombe.
Okay.
So we are right behind him. So if you can contact him to remind him of that.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Yeah.
Hello. 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 All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will call it a night here. Once more, Ambazonians on the Ground Zero. This ghost town has nothing to do with you in all of the southern Cameroon's territory. Monday is our regular lockdown or ghost town day. And then after Monday, that is Tuesday, through the rest of the week, go about your business. Go about your business as usual and let La République do Cameroon citizens kind of have a little taste of what you have been through for the past 9 years. It is time they fight for themselves and fight for their own. And if they want us to be with them, and then after they fight and finish, they will meet us, we will sit down and figure out the way forward. So that is all I have for you today. I will be coming back on the Monday, but for all Ambazonians in the diaspora, I think it is very critical that we come together, sit down, and begin to talk about how we handle this important moment. Not that we have not been discussing it, but I think that we need to come sit down physically or virtually to discuss how we handle this situation on the ground. Because we have known for years that today was coming. Now that it is here, all this calling in and all these monologues and talking points really do not amount to anything if there is no correspondent action that follows it. But it is you and I who have to take that corresponding action. And so I am talking with the leaders of the interim government to see if we can call an all Ambazonia, all Southern Cameroon's town hall coming weekend, the coming weekend, not this weekend, the upper one. So we want to see everybody, every shade of opinion from Ambazonians in that meeting, so that from there we figure out the direction to take vis-a-vis what is going on in La République du Cameroon. It is very, very important that we do that. So next week, Monday, I will be bringing you some details about that meeting, but please take note, the coming weekend, again, not tomorrow weekend, but the coming one, we have to have a mighty and all Ambazonia town hall to figure out, to hear from you the direction you think that we should be taking at this moment in time for Ambazonia's liberation struggle. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to being back on Monday with what is going on. In the meantime, you remain safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Good night and happy weekend.
Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com.
Dene smart, muna king fenge, usari maribo. Wose se ku, Joseph Urabwe. Wose se ku, Joseph Urabwe. Wose se ku,